And we just moved out in the territory and lived up there for a while and getting used to, being up there. And we thought we heard a vehicle coming in, and one of the supporters said he wanted to go camp out on the bridge overnight, and it was snowing. And we're like, "You sure you want to do that?" He goes, "Yeah, my sleeping bag can handle like -40, and I'm fine out there." And we're like, "Okay, if you want to sleep on a bridge, go ahead." And he did that, but his instincts were in there. It was amazing because he said, "I don't know why, but something's telling me I have to go sleep on a bridge." So he went to sleep on the bridge, and sure enough, a vehicle was trying to get in, and he stopped it. And he said, "You guys can't go anywhere. Don't turn back. Don't drive in. Just stay right here. Don't get out of your vehicles. I'm going to get somebody. The owner of this territory's got something to say to you." And he left. He came running over to the cabin, and we're just finishing supper and getting the dishes and stuff ready. And he comes running into the cabin. He's like, "There's somebody at the bridge. I stopped them at the bridge. And I told them not to go anywhere, but they said they're working for the pipeline." I said, "Okay, we'll deal with them," and started getting all of our stuff together. And he went running upstairs to say to get something, and he came back down and he gave me a feather, an eagle feather that he got in his travels. And he said something inside of him just said that he had to hand the feather over to us. And I just took it, and I knew what it was for. But he handed it over to me, and I got one of the other guys to handle a camera. And I said, "Can you take the camera? We need to record what's going to happen right now." So, people know, what we're doing up here. So we walked out to the road, and the guy with the camera was like, he was really excited, and it was like snowing out. So he was breathing really, really hard, and his vapor is actually blackened out the lens on the camera. So as we got there, you could just barely see the people's faces when he's there. He's like, you just see the screen just slowly fog up, and it went black, and I'm like, oh, after we watched it. But he got the audio on it, and I served a feather of trespass to the surveyors that were trying to get in. And I told them that I have a right to do that, the right that we use for that type of a situation, because I'm married into that clan, is unist'ot'en. It's the right of the husband and the responsibility of the husband to protect his wife's territory. And I served him a feather of trespass. And Freda was traveling out that morning, and she saw the survey equipment, and she was the one who alerted us on it in the first place. So we started to look around and try and find out what was going on. But she took pictures of the survey equipment and told us, surveyors back there, if they come into the territory, stop them and tell them not to come back. Tell them that they're trespassing and they're not allowed to come back. So I had to do that, was given marching orders. And sure enough, they showed up, and that night I served them a trespass notice, and the videos on YouTube, I think, and on our webpage. But we managed to kick them out. And the last instance, I guess, of a trespass from the company was last August. Late August, a helicopter flew in with a couple of surveyors, and they flew in from the back end of the territory instead of crossing over the bridge because of the blockade. And they brought a couple of surveyors, and I heard a helicopter coming from the back end of the territory. I could hear it. It was quite audible, but we couldn't see it. And all of a sudden, it sounded like the rotors were slowing down. And we're working on salmon and picking berries. And I was like, the helicopter just landed. I've got to go see what the hell's going on. So I got in my truck, and one of the supporters hopped in with me, and we drove up the road, and it was about 1.5 kilometers from the camp. There's a helicopter parked on the side of the road, and these two surveyors were walking up the hill with their vests on, and the chopper pilot was standing outside his chopper. And I drove my white truck up and jumped out, and I swore a lot. I was really pissed because I couldn't believe that they did this again. And I spent a lot of time just swearing at them and showing them how pissed off I was. And I said that they were given a trespass notice once, and I'm not going to do it again. That I'm going to be generous just as one last time. If they're caught trespassing here again, things are going to escalate, and they're going to escalate really fast. And they're not going to like it, and people are probably going to get hurt really bad. And they got into the helicopter and were lucky to fly out of there that day. And that was the last trespass that the companies tried to make into the territory, as far as we know. And they would get regular flyovers at the camp. The helicopters are coming by almost on a daily basis. Sometimes they fly right over top of the cabin. Other times they're surveying the back of the territory to see if anybody's back there. And there's usually somebody back in the territory doing something. So, they're never going to get back in there and attempt to sneak into the territory again, because our people are there to make sure we stop these goddamn pipelines.
So over the past few years, we've been having supporters that come in. They come from all over the world, and they usually make applications through Zoe, through the Victoria Force Action Network. And she has a series of questions because she's been helping us screen out to ensure that we don't get any infiltrators or any other people that are just going to try and sabotage what we're doing from all over. And a lot of them's goal is because they're truly believe in what we're doing, so they want to come up and see for themselves. And a lot of them say, even though they're working hard at what we believe in, after they come to the camp, it really changes them because it makes them amp it up because they see exactly what it is we're protecting. And we have a clean river that flows right by the cabin where we pack our water, and we drink that water, and it's healthy water because it's full of minerals and it's clean 12 months out of the year, because most of our other rivers during the spring runoff, it's like all muddy, you can't even drink it. This river that flows by the cabin, it's clean year round. And Gosnell Creek flows into the Morris River, and Gosnell Creek is another proposed route that they're planning to go under the creek, and that's the creek where all our salmon spawn. And that salmon that spawn there, they go downstream into the Buckley and Skeena, and a lot of our people, that's where they get their food source from. And so that's the key resource that we're protecting is the salmon, as well as it's a high area for the grizzlies. We share that territory with them. And yeah, we really appreciate all the help that comes up, and like I said, that it's really life-changing experience, and the experience that we teach people up there is how to reconnect with the land. Because I'm pretty sure people all over the world were connected to the land, and right now everything's about the economy and making money, and everybody has lost sight of who we once were, and that's what's killing the planet, and that's what's being out for the year on the territory, eating healthy, drinking that living water, and changing my lifestyle and being physically fit, because you have to pack water and you have to chop wood to stay warm, and from the time you get up to the time you go to bed, your day is busy, you don't have time to lounge around. And so I became physically fit and really healthy, and after that 1 year, perfumes didn't bother me as severe as they did, and yeah, a lot of my allergies are basically gone, because even just coming to the city, I would be sneezing, coughing, my eyes would be drippy, my nose, and as you can see, I'm totally fine. And that's what being on the territory has done, and that's what I mean about the environment. We as humans have destroyed it so much. That's why there's so many people with allergies and all these asthma and all these other sicknesses, because our air is so polluted. And if people go out, it's just like I say, it's like a refuge, or if you want a healing, you go out to the land, you're going to get better. You won't need no medical doctors or anything like that to help you get better. So yeah.
So we get a lot of volunteers that come out to the territory, and like Freda said, they come from everywhere. The experience of the volunteers isn't like we get a lot of people for some odd reason who show up with army fatigues and ready to fight and pick up arms, and I think it's all good, but we're in a camp and we need a lot of work done. So we eventually kind of talk them out of the craziness and start helping us around the camp, and it's really cool. The life on the camp behind the blockade isn't as militant as the mainstream media might want us to think. The life behind the blockade is basically people like us, unist'ot'en, out on our own territories, attempting to restake our claim to the lands and to live alongside our ancestors. Because our ancestors never did leave the territories, they never did move on to the reserves. They continued to live out in our territories, their spirits are still there. You can hear them singing their songs, you can hear them speaking our language in the back end of the territory if you spend enough time out there by yourself. And you can really learn to reconnect. And that's kind of what we do up there. There's a few guys from Rising Tide that were out there recently, and they got an experience up there. You know, it's a beautiful way to reconnect. The idea and the philosophy behind what we do is about building relationships. Our planet is suffering today because everything that we do, everything that we plan, and everything that we hope for and strive for is human-centric. So much of the human beings on this planet worry about other human beings and the future of human beings that we completely disassociate ourselves and forget about the natural world that we need to survive. So in order for a lot of us to get the ass kicking and the whooping that we need to snap out of that, we need to get out on the land and start learning to build that relationship with the land again. And that's what we do up there. There's some guys that were vegetarians that don't eat meat. They're up there and we're eating traditional meat. Everything is done with ceremony. When we hunt, the animals are taken with ceremony. There's a relationship that we build with the animal before we take its life. The salmon is the same thing. There's old ceremonies that we're resurrecting up there. In order for us to enjoy a meal, we have to know where that food came from. We have to be able to tell a story at the beginning of our meal about what happened with that animal, that creature that gave its life to us. And that's what we do. Everybody should have stories about the food that they're putting into their body. Again, we've become so disassociated with the world, our natural world, that the food that we eat almost on a daily basis for just about everybody in here, there's no stories that come with it. We don't know where it came from. We just know that it was bought in a store somewhere. And that's sad. The climate crisis is continuing because we're ignoring the natural world around us. We're choosing to continue to plug our stuff into the wall and hope it's going to work. We're continuing to go to the bathroom and expect the water to come out and flush our poop down the toilet. We're expecting to turn on a tap and wash your face with it and turn it off and hope it's going to turn on the next time. We're used to walking into grocery stores and just buying stuff and then walking out and paying a stupid low amount of money for the stuff that we're putting into our bodies, the poisons, the toxins, and all that other crap. We've become so disassociated with the world around us that, thinking of a place like Unist'ot'en camp was almost an artificial thought. And I'm really honored and glad that the people who did come out to spend time at our camp, there's plenty of you out there, did come out and experience something that taught you how to live again. Because much of what we do in today's society is just there to delay our death. We're waiting for that moment when it's time for us to retire. And after we retire, we hope that we have enough left in our bank accounts so that children and their grandchildren won't be angry at us for being so cheap. We forgot how to live our lives. A lot of us are going to 9-to-5s. Our kids hardly ever see us. The education system is crap. There's so much miseducation out there that our people from all walks of life, including Indigenous peoples, are becoming miseducated. And we need to get rid of that. We need to decolonize our brains, decolonize our bodies, and to begin to understand the world around us in a whole new light. And that's what we do. That's what unist'ot'en camp's all about. And I'm not saying that we're not militant. There's probably a good chance we are militant and we're just waiting. But right now, we're not going to waste our time sitting around acting like militants. We're going to spend our time learning how to live and build relationships with our lands again and quit being so human-centric.